This is James Walker, and welcome to Real Talk, Real People. This is the podcast that turns the mic over to everyday people to hear what they have to say about the issues and problems we face as a society. Here almost a year ago, and
Time really flew.
it really flies. And you were talking about, inmates and solitary confinement and so forth. And I see your name has not left the news in the last year as you continue to advocate for these things. So I guess let's kind of start with what are you doing and what's going on?
A lot of work. We're working, that's what Stop Solitary, working to end solitary confinement in Connecticut by all the different ways that they describe it. And that's going to include about 4 or 5 prisons where people on a regular basis, not for punishment reasons, but on a regular basis are in their cells 22 or 23 hours a day. So we're planning on ending that. One of our other demands was shutting down Northern, where we know torture goes on. The prison has been cited by the United Nations last year for its acts of torture against people. And we have a victory on that already. They recently announced that that's going to close down July 1st. But we know we are just one step toward miles of work that we got to do. Because even when they close down Northern, we anticipate that they'll close the building down,
Right.
but that they will just move the program to one of the other prisons. So we're making sure that we're making it clear that when we say we want to end it, we want to end it in its entirety. The program is not going to go to another prison. And so we also want the place demolished because no human being should be in there. The sick mind that developed in the first place should have never happened. So we want to make sure that they don't shut it down for Connecticut prisoners and maybe put other people in it. So we want it completely demolished.
Still,
And
that
so
must make
we have a lot of work to do.
and it must make you feel pretty good though. I mean, because you're really out there on the front lines. And so Northern must be some kind of victory for you because
Oh
you really
yes.
went at it very hard.
Yeah, but
So
not only for us, but for me anyway, the biggest victory is the people that are being tortured in there being able to find out that that place is going to be shut down, so there's some relief coming to them. So I mean so it's a huge victory just on that alone.
so for people who don't know, kind of give us a description of what Northern is like and why prisoners there why it's just a horrendous situation for prisoners there.
Well, from the descriptions I heard, it's a very dark place, gray walls, cement. They take you down the hall. They say that you feel like you're just leaving any parts of connection with the outside world. They're put into this cement space where they have a toilet and a bed. I think their toilet plays a part of a sink too. That's how tiny the space is, and they have the only part of light that they might see might be through a little shutter that they have in the door where they
Right.
usually slide their food and their medication through.
Wow. So
They're
no
in that
windows, nothing
for
like that.
23 hours a day. They come out 1 hour, and for that hour that they come out for a shower or rec, they are chained up like wild animals. They're chained to the shower. If they go on the phone, they're chained to the phone. When they go for exercise, they leave that cement space to go to a actual cage, and they're cuffed, so they really can't do anything but stand there cuffed, and I guess that's their constitutional right to their exercise. And so a lot of people actually lose their minds there.
I can
There's a
imagine.
lot of mental illness that's either created or exacerbated inside of that place. A lot of those people end up in Gardner, where they have serious mental illness there. The place was really, you can tell it was really meant to break a person's spirit. They market it to Connecticut people that don't have a clue that it's the worst of the worst that go there. But for them, the worst of the worst are anyone who resists the way they abuse you.
Right.
So anyone who tries to resist in any kind of way, you're a threat to security, and you can end up in Northern. And that place is to break your spirit. And many times people lose their minds.
Well, I was wondering because, from what I've read, I don't know really much about prisons, but from what I've read, that 23-hour lockdown normally pertain to death row inmates, not just the regular general prison population. So I'm really kind of surprised to hear that just the general prison population is are experiencing that same 23-hour lockdown. But you
Yes.
mentioned mental health. Is anything being done? Because some of these men are getting out of prison eventually.
Yeah.
So is anything being done to kind of help them with their mental health? Because as you say, that place is there to break them. So
Yeah.
is there anything there to help them with their mental health needs?
Well, what happens, I think they have a counselor there. Most of them, they just drug them really out of their minds. They drug them so they can't really do anything. And the problem with the drugs that they give them, they're antipsychotics. And I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So whenever anyone mentions a med, I'm always looking for the side effects.
Right.
And those antipsychotics have a lot of side effects. Some cause tics, like involuntary movements in your body. And if the longer you're on them, the more they can become permanent. There's sexual dysfunction. There's weight gain, cause a lot of them to become diabetic. It's like just it's just really bad. There's just nothing good about it. But they use it because the people, once they drive them crazy, they can't control them in any
Control
way.
them. Yeah.
So
Right.
they just drug them up. And like you
So
say, some of them are going to leave Northern and go straight right back to the streets.
right.
I know of incidents that happening. So that means these people have been tortured, driven out of their mind, and they're sent back to our community. So now our community's not safe. Their families are not safe because they don't know what to do with this person that's been drugged up for weeks,
And
months,
isolated, not only
years.
drugged up, but isolated on top
Yeah,
of that with no
isolated,
social
tortured. They don't know how
interaction.
to relate to people again. Their whole humanity's erased. So it's really serious what's happening to the people. And the part about Northern, we know in Connecticut, the general population is 72% white.
Mhm.
Well, the population, the people that end up in Northern and in Garner, which is serious mental illness, they're like 80 and almost 90% Black and Hispanic. So most of this torture is happening to Black and Hispanic people. And those people coming back to our community, broken. They're broken people.
Right, and they're coming back without any help. That's the
Right.
that's the key issue. They're coming back without any help. Now, I know you're telling me that some of the people that you work with and advocate with, that they were going to the appropriations committee, a meeting at the appropriations committee or something like that. What were you
Yes,
guys
we
doing
yes,
there?
we had a hearing, a public hearing Monday, and we have another one tonight at 6:30. I'm going to be testifying in that one. I testified on Monday too. But we're going before the Appropriations Committee because when they shut down Northern, that place was they were spending $17.5 million on that place with 50 people in it. So imagine that
Huh,
$17 million to control 55 people.
that's a lot of overtime.
And so we're saying, okay, when you shut it down, we need to make sure some of that money is going back to help support those communities that you harmed, that the state harmed. The governor wants to take the money to fix the budget. And we're saying, no, you have destroyed people's lives. You can't just put them on the street and not give them any resources.
Are
So
you
we'll be going before appropriations again tonight, again trying to get them to make sure that that money does not go to fix a budget, that it goes to fix the communities that have been broken.
do you have any lawmakers who are lining themselves up with you?
Oh yes, we have. But the first forerunner, front runners of all of this work that for our community is Senator Gary Winfield and Representative Robin Porter.
Robin Porter,
There's
yeah.
others, but those have always been the front runners of any kind of support to help our community.
Yeah,
And
they're
believe
they're
me, it's not
go-getters without a
easy
doubt.
when, yeah, it's not easy when you have 169 towns and most of them are predominantly white towns. They don't even know what's going on. Many of them don't even want to know. because those prisons in their community boosts their economy, and having the people in their community boost their support as far as in politics, because they count the people that are incarcerated, they count them as people living in their
living
towns.
in their towns.
Yeah, so
Yes,
they get a lot of political influence from having our people in their communities. And we know that the prisons, most of the communities that fill the prisons are New Haven, Hartford, and Bridgeport and Waterbury.
the
But that,
urban,
yeah,
the urban
but
cities.
all that affluence goes to suburban communities. So, we do have some suburban legislators who really help us and support us. But it's primarily those are the front runners right there, Robin and Gary. And
Yeah,
so
Gary's
they have a tough
always,
battle.
yeah, they
They
do
have a
have a
really
tough
tough
battle.
battle in Hartford.
And they need more support from the Black
Oh,
community
definitely.
overall. They definitely need more support. But you mentioned something that I really like, and that's you may be going on this billboard campaign, and
Oh, yes.
I'm trying to envision what this billboard is going to look like and where exactly you guys intend to place them. What can you tell us about that?
We are really excited because this session we are really intensifying our work. We really want at the end of this session that we have some legislation. So we're going all out. Now our billboard campaign, we're going to have billboards on I think it's I-91, I-84, and I-95. I can always get back to you to give you the perfect place. We wanted to get one here in the local area on State Street near the Hess station because a lot of
Right.
traffic goes through there. I was trying to work with Juan Castillo to get that done, but he said the billboard's taken. But we're going to have those billboards up. And the billboards, I mean, we did some work with this wonderful lady from Wild Designs. Matter of fact, if you go on her website, Wild Designs, her name is Jackie. The billboards are fantastic. It had one of them just defines solitary confinement. They have another one that has a picture of a dog on one side and a black man on another side.
Oh, you kind of froze up here with
And on
Zoom.
the dog side, and the caption says, "We have laws against hurting dogs, but yet it's okay to hurt a human being
Right.
in Connecticut." We have
I,
another one showing just people in despair inside of a cage. So we're really excited about that. We're gonna
it
have hats and
sounds
shirts and banners. Yeah.
it sounds really eye catching, and I'm assuming that's why
Oh
you're
yeah.
putting them out there. And but
That's it.
what do you hope they bring? What do you hope these billboards bring you?
Mostly just to wake people up, to inform people. We really want to get them out in communities that don't know anything about prisons, to get to for them to know this is what's going on in your town with your tax money. We also have postcards that we're trying to concentrate in those areas that we know they don't know anything about prison, so that they all come together and hopefully have enough humanity that they'll support us in what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree
Because
with you. A
that's
lot
all
of
we're trying to do is if the people are going to be in prison, their sentence was to lose their liberty. It wasn't to lose their life and to lose their mind and to break them. That wasn't the purpose. So,
that wasn't the sentence, as you say, that wasn't the
mm-mm,
sentence. And I think you're right when you say a lot of
no,
suburbanites don't understand what goes on in the prison. And I think a lot of them have this assumption that everyone behind bars are these crazed, drug infected gun runners, thugs. And that's not
that's
true
the
at all.
way they
You and I,
market it.
right, that's the way they market it. You and I
Yeah, that's the
both
way they
know that
market it.
that is not the cause. And we also know that once someone steps into that arena, it's almost impossible to get out. As you say, they really dog you.
Yes,
They really dog you.
yes, yes.
What about
Because with every sentence they usually add on probation. You could have years of probation, so you can be violated. Say you went in for you had drug problem, so you're on probation. They can violate you because you get a dirty urine. You can be violated if you don't make it to your probation officer on time when you're supposed to. You could be violated for so many things. So that's the bulk of who's in prison, probation violators
really?
and
I don't.
people with mental illness. We took them out of the mental institution and put them in the prisons.
Yes, that I do know, and I do know. To me, that is by design, quite frankly. It is by
Oh, definitely
design,
by
and it's
design.
it's horrendous. Now, I noticed that sometimes when you send me emails, they're for legislative breakfasts and things like that.
Hmm.
What do you do at these legislative breakfasts? What do you talk about, and what do you hope to get out of those?
We do that to educate the legislators, especially the suburban ones, because like I said, we have 169 towns being represented. So a lot of people in the suburban areas have no clue what's going on. So we invite them to a breakfast. It's a Zoom call, of course, and we provide them all this information. People like on our team, we have a former warden, we have a female who used to work in a correctional center, we have a person who's been in Northern. I represent a family member who's been in Northern. So we have a minister. We have this collection of people who we speak to the legislators and talk and tell our stories. And we show them, how they can access film. We give them our website so they can go up there. There's so much information on our website, which I don't know if you have it. It's
It's
stopsolitaryct.org.
well, no, but you just told my listeners, and I'm going to urge them to go to that website. So say it again.
Stopsolitaryct.org.
Yes, I'm going to
There's so
urge.
much information up there. There's a petition up there that they can sign to support our making prisons more humane. And there's just a lot of information up there for people. They can get
Okay.
involved in our campaign.
So what's next for you guys? What do you what if you had your druthers, what would happen right
First of all, they would immediately stop solitary confinement. They would provide care, true quality care for all those people that they have harmed inside the prison, because they're moving them out of that place, but they're putting them somewhere else, and they've broken them. So they need to get some kind of support, and they need to support the families, the communities who have been harmed by this torture that they don't even want to acknowledge. But those communities need some help. So if we can do that and make prison not be such a big business anymore, that is actually a place where people go to pay back for whatever they did wrong. There's going to be more time spent out of the cells because they're going to be getting rehabilitation, um, developing skills, getting education, those kind of things that they really, really need, even including, mental health care if that's behind why they're in there.
now?
But they would be getting those things as
I,
opposed to just sitting in a cell all day.
all day long doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I have one more question for you. What about their families? The because I'm assuming most of these people are right here in our area. What do you talk about when you talk to their families? How are their families putting up with all this? How are they coping with
You know what? I was just talking to somebody about that today because I said there's almost 10,000 people in prison. You would think when we're out there rallying and trying to make things more humane that we'd have at least 10,000 people out
it?
there.
Right.
But we're lucky if we get 25. And that's
I,
the sad part. And I think it's because people have so conditioned themselves in accepting the oppression and what goes on that it doesn't bother them. That's the only thing I can see. I can't understand. Like when my son was in there, the first thing I was doing was getting in touch with the counselors, doctors, nurses, commissioners, building relationships. I want to make sure my son was treated like a human being. I don't understand why everybody's not doing that. So that I can't answer because that's been hard for me to understand. But I think it's just people just normalize it. And maybe they don't even have a clue. Maybe they don't look into what's really happening to their loved one. Because how do you not care that your child is being tortured and broken like that?
it does seem rather strange because obviously when I was senior editor, we covered your events and so forth, and you would think that there would just be crowds of people because
Right.
you have so many people behind bars, and you're like, where are their mothers, where are their fathers, where are their sisters and brothers, and it just lends you to believe that they are so horrible that not even their families want them back. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have this mass, tranquility. And I don't know, there's just something wrong with that picture. We have too many people behind bars not to have massive
Right.
response from
And
parents.
they're not these horrible people. Majority of people that get in prison as a result of the war on drugs.
More on
And
drugs.
America really needs to end the war on drugs. They're
Yes,
always trying to find a way how they can make money off it.
right,
But the fight is, while you're trying to make money, what about all those people you've locked up? Are you
right.
going to let those people out? And so that's the fight that's going on in Connecticut right now, because the governor wants to legalize marijuana, but what about all those people that are locked up in jail, went to jail for marijuana?
Or selling marijuana. And
Yeah. Without
I
the war on drugs, those prisons would not be full around this nation with people that are brown and black.
yeah,
It's because that war was intentionally put in place. And it's not like a secret, you can go Google it up.
mhm.
Nixon said in June 17th, 1971, Black people and war resistors are a problem in America. And what we have to do is devise a system that takes care of that problem without it appearing so. And so he initiated the war on drugs. This year will be 50 years of that war. It's not a war on drugs, it's a war on us,
We're on
because they
us,
have the policies, but they selectively enforce them in Black and brown
Black
communities.
communities, and that has to stop. And
Yeah.
quite frankly,
Yeah. Legalizing marijuana is not doing it. You need to end this war on us, period.
and we need more of these Black parents
Mhm.
and to get out there and lend some support to you and the cause that you're out there advocating for.
They have
Because
to.
25 people at a rally is not going to do it. We need
Mm-mm.
thousands. We need
That's
thousands.
why it takes
We
us
have.
years.
That's why it takes years
If
because there seems to
9,000
be
people
no
were out there, we could do it in a couple of months.
right. Right. And let's hope that those billboards, because I really like that idea and I'm really anxious to see what they're going to look like. So let's
Yes,
hope that brings you a lot more support
I'm
than
hoping
what
so.
you've been getting.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to add, Barbara?
No, I'm just so excited about our campaign. I'm going to make sure you get a mask, because we're giving face masks too.
Okay,
And
cool.
just so appreciate you helping to spread the word, because so many people really have no clue. We talk about torture in other countries, and we're doing so much of it right here in our state, right under our own noses. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Well,
helping me get the word out.
you're welcome. I have to be frank. I get so frustrated because you're always sending me emails for virtual this, virtual that, and and I say, okay, I'm going to join them, and then something else happens, and I came into the new year saying, I've got to make sure I get to Barbara Farah early, and,
And
you
and
know,
you did.
and
Thank you.
because I just appreciate your efforts, and you don't waver. That's what I like.
Oh
You are
no.
determined. You go after it. I know you're a pain in the neck to the governor
Oh, you know I
and
am.
others, but I always tell people she never sways. She
Mm-mm.
is right on point and she doesn't move off topic. And you have to appreciate and support somebody who is doing something like that on behalf of people. So, on behalf of Real Talk, Real People, we thank you and keep up the good work.
Thank you. You have a good day. Have a
You
nice
do the
weekend.
same. You do the same.
Okay.
Talk again soon.